So, hi everybody. I'm Tennyson Wolf, and today I am speaking with Jonas Hunter. Jonas and I have met through a couple of different contexts that include being part of the Circle Way. Jonas joining into a couple of different events along the way, Circle Way practicums and some online learning events, and just glad, Jonas, as always, to be in a connection with you, to be in some learning and some wondering and some thinking out loud and some just appreciating actually the shared paths that we have. So welcome here with all of that background. First question, Jonas, can you just give us a little bit of the essence of who you are vocationally?
Well, Tennyson, great to be here as always. A few things about me. I have a background in running organizations. I ran a technology company that I started at a young age and sold that company in 2010 and have since been working in the social business space. I've led a nonprofit in Los Angeles as their founding executive director and been working on several turnarounds, helping companies either with stage development, getting from one place to the next, or in getting back on their feet. And really happy to be here. Really happy to be talking about Circle.
Beautiful. One of the ways that I know you is that you go into some environments that perhaps are less circle aware or less circle savvy, and yet you carry some aspect of circle. You've been able to experiment with some of that. Can you say a little bit of what you have been up to with circle, and maybe a little bit about how did the practicum help you with what you are up to?
Well, there's been different ways that it's been really valuable. I mean, in the least sense, it's been in all my communication, ensuring that, there's a little bit more awareness about how a conversation is getting started, with what my intention is around what I'd like to see there, and checking in at the beginning to see how we're all doing in that moment. And in many ways, it's guiding me to be that much more present and aware of what the other person is feeling in that moment. And recently, actually last week with a client, there was the opportunity just to hold a circle with three business partners informally and hold space for each one of these male partners to kind of bring some aspects of what their fears and their wishes are that they had never had the opportunity to share with each other before. And we didn't have an actual talking stick. There wasn't creating a container for this, but there was really strong intention on my part to let each person have their time. And it was a really powerful experience for them.
Jonas, sorry for that. What do you feel that, what does for you and the groups that you're with, what does circle get you that not circle doesn't get you? Can you play with that one just a bit?
I think what had me kind of come back the second time and start doing this work, it was the part that gets me is bringing myself into it, rather than being a facilitator where I'm just constantly, where I'm like guiding conversation. Circle gives me the possibility to be more involved, bring myself into a little bit more. And sometimes that means, setting the stage for how expression feels like, what it looks like. So by me first sharing a little bit about where I'm at and encouraging the next person to do the same. If I'm doing work with with the group around vulnerability and trust building, by myself first expressing some of my vulnerabilities in that moment, when I then go to the CEO who's coming up next, he has some modeling there for him to come forward as well. What that really does for me is brings me into the conversation, and I feel fed that way. I feel, I really enjoy being in that conversation.
That's good. I just appreciate those words. I know it's a bigger topic or a bigger focus area, and yet I know we're also both searchers for an essence of what's going on there that feels helpful and useful and energetic and sustainable, and a few other things that go with that. So a bit around feeding, I think there is a kind of feeding that many of us are seeking.
Yeah.
In the context of today, Jonas, you know that we're doing a couple of upcoming practicums, and there are some people that are considering coming. If you were to offer an encouragement for people considering such things, what would that be?
I think the practicum is an incredible place to practice being in circle together, to being in a kind of communication that we used to have, that's in our DNA, gathering around the fire, gathering in the morning, and talking to each other about our dreams, talking to each other about big things that are coming up in our lives and the village. It's easy to gather people together in one way, but it doesn't happen, and very often at all. And the practicum is a place to experiment with what works and how we can call people together. So my encouragement is just to become part of circle, gather in circles, and the practicum is a great place to get started.
Thanks, Jonas. For those of you interested, there are a couple of upcoming Circle Way practicums, one June 19th through 24th near Brisbane, Australia. I'll be co-hosting with Amanda Fenton and Penny Hamilton. And a second in August, the 14th through the 19th on Whidbey Island near Seattle. I'll be co-hosting with, again, Amanda Fenton and Chantilly Mears-Pickett. More information on Australia is at thecirclewayaustralia.com. More information on the Whidbey Island gathering is at learnthecircleway.com. Jonas, I love it that we continue to meet with one another and learn with one another and wonder with one another and figure a few things out along the way also. Thanks for joining in today.
My pleasure. Likewise.
Be well.